Hi, Biffs.
Hey, Beth.
Dear Abby.
Dear Kiki.
Captain.
Red flag.
Cheers to you.
Desperate housewife.
Pinot Grigio.
Doesn't want to marry
Loser
you.
power.
Love you like I
Or
love
more
you.
wine.
Don't talk to yourself.
Cheers, Biff.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ill-advised.
Ill-advised. This is ill-advised.
Hey Biffs, welcome to Ill-Advised, the podcast where two best friends tell you what to do the way only two best friends can. Your favorite Biffs took some time off this holiday season to enjoy time with family and friends. On behalf of Stephanie and myself, we want to wish you a happy new year. And we're so happy to be in 2024 with you in your cars, in your homes, in your kitchens, your earbuds at the gym, wherever it may be. We are just so thrilled that you're continuing to listen, and your support means the world to us. And we'll be back next week with our 100th episode, thrilled to launch 2024 with something very special and near and dear to us. It's a fun episode, and we can't wait for you to hear it. Over the years, we've had the privilege to read from so many advice columns from so many credentialed individuals. And that makes putting together these compilations that much harder because we have so many to choose from and so many great questions. And the writers are just as gifted in the way that they're able to articulate their thoughts amid whatever crisis that they're experiencing. Let's start out this compilation going back to episode 43, Swing Bangin' to Death. In this episode, we read from the Ask Logan column from cosmopolitan.com. From what I remember, this was a really fun episode to record, even though it was forever ago, because it had so many great questions, and it was really hard to choose between them. Listen to this clip from this episode where Biff and I are giving advice when a husband hides his wife's vibrator. Hilarity ensues.
This is from cosmopolitan.com, February 22nd, 2017. My husband hid my vibrator from me. How do I talk to him? Oh, excuse me again. See, these bubbly drinks.
Just take a deep breath.
How do I talk to him about this situation? My husband has a low sex drive, so I bought myself a toy to tide me over until he gets in the mood, which isn't very often. He found out about it and actually hid it from me. Is he insecure about his sex drive? How do I talk to him about this situation? First of all, that's a little bit hilarious.
He took her pounder.
Hit it.
And hit it.
No, not a pounder. Rubber.
A vibrator?
Yeah.
Vibrator?
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm trying to put an accent on it. It doesn't work.
Because of Logan Hill.
Logan Hill?
Oh, no, Logan Hill.
Have a vibrator? You vibrating Logan Hill? How do you talk to him about it?
Is he insecure about his sex drive? How do I talk to him about this situation?
First of all, demand what is yours. I spent money on that pussy pounder, and I'm going to get pounded by myself.
Clitoral stimulator.
Listen, I don't know the difference anymore.
Vibrating. Pounding. Okay.
Yes, I understand. I understand. I forgot we had this conversation already on the air.
All the time.
On the air.
Did I do the table thing?
No.
Okay.
Possibly. I have no idea. I feel like I kind of have to think on this because yes, he's threatened by your vibrator for sure. Threatened. He's like, no, if it ain't me, it's nothing. Like he's like old fashioned. You should match my sex drive and we do it when I want to do it. There's that twang again. We do it when I want to do it or we don't do it at all.
God damn it.
God damn it. Logan Hill.
Bertha.
Polly Pocket.
No, he hid her Polly Pocket.
Her pocket Polly. Yeah. How do you talk to him? You tell him you have needs that you're taking out in a very healthy, natural way. You are not looking for it elsewhere other than your nightstand. And
Good point.
He just either needs to start that testosterone treatment so that he's, ready to shag 24/7, or, find out why he doesn't have a high sex drive that matches yours, or he just accepts that, you can take care of yourself. You're a big girl. You spend your dollars. You punch your Benjamins.
You punch in pockets.
You break your Benjamins to punch a pocket.
To put Polly in it.
Yeah. And if you followed all of that, you're a very intelligent human being.
Thanks, Biff.
Anytime.
I was wicked smart.
Oh, well, yes. What's your take?
I'm still laughing that he actually hit it.
He hit it. I'm curious as to why he didn't throw it away.
Maybe he did.
Maybe
that's why she can't find it still.
Can't find it, right?
Because he hit it and then took the trash out the next morning.
Oh.
And threw Polly right in her pocket.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to gauge. Is he sad and embarrassed and insecure? Or is he we're
going to do what I want to do it, and we're not going to do it at all.
If I ain't having orgasms, neither are you.
Right. He totally has. He's in the bathroom going to pound town on himself. He's punching Polly.
Maybe he's got ED.
Yeah.
And he's embarrassed about it. And that vibrator is a reminder that he's not performing to her.
Yeah, but wouldn't she know that? Wouldn't she know that he's, got a limp one?
She does. She's just said, my husband has a low sex drive.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he's limp. It just means he doesn't want to have sex.
Is he insecure about his sex drive? I mean, if he's throwing vibrators away.
He's definitely insecure about his sex drive.
For sure.
But he's also not thrilled about yours. I have to say it.
I'm just having a difficult time not taking it seriously, because clearly it wouldn't be here, but in what manner? Was he angry and he was fuck this vibrator and
listen,
took it? Or is he just I really just kind of want to know what went through his brain to I'm throwing this vibrator away.
I wonder if it goes off in all hours of the night and it wakes him up. Or
she uses it right next to him while he's in bed.
Oh my God. I totally would. Oh, yeah.
That's me.
I would just hold his hand while I'm doing it.
Pull my hair.
Just
I'm almost there.
Caress my chest.
Caress my chest.
Oh, I don't know. I'm ready for the answer on this one.
Yeah. I got too many other questions. All right. So Logan says, yes, he's insecure. Yes, you should talk about it. Let's be real. The only reason guys don't have giant closets full of buzzing vibrators is that their hands, thanks to evolution, are wildly efficient masturbatory devices.
You mean thumbs? We got thumbs. Could use a hot dog bun.
If guys' bodies worked differently, they would have very different opinions about sex toys. It's a shame your husband is insecure and so controlling. Oh, good one, Biff. That he hid your vibrator. That's an awful move. And he probably just reacted emotionally, unsure of how to handle this battery-charged threat to his manhood. He will, however, get over it. But you've got to talk. You need to explain to him that it's not a big deal. You just like this vibrator. It feels good. So does he. It's not like he's some factory worker being replaced by an automated machine. A toy is not actually a threat to your sex life. I'll just note that he is clearly in the wrong tied to your vibrator. But you were hiding it too?
I didn't get that.
Me either. This whole problem seems like it's born out of awkwardness, not meanness. You might want to make sure he knows that you weren't hiding it because it was some terrible secret, but you just felt nervous about it and didn't want to risk hurting his feelings. Tell him you know he's hidden your vibrator and you need to talk. Do not apologize because you have nothing to apologize for. Tell him you want him to understand why you use it. It's not mysterious. Tell him that you've always masturbated and that using a vibrator is a very damn good way to get off. Tell him it doesn't mean that you want him any less.
But we're Christian.
If anything, I bet it keeps you going, feeling sexual and wanting more. If he's threatened, offered to show him how it works, or even integrate it into your bedroom play if he's up for it.
That was going to be my next suggestion.
There's no reason why he shouldn't learn to use it on you. And obviously, there are ways you can use a vibrator to enhance his experience as well. You respect his sex drive, and he needs to respect yours as well.
What the hell?
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
That's...
Sure.
I just didn't get the idea that she was hiding it from him.
Right.
I mean, yes, don't apologize for anything.
Right.
Take care of business, girl.
Absolutely.
Sit on a washer.
Dryer.
Is it a dryer?
I thought so.
You could send them all to spin.
True that.
That's true.
True that.
Put towels in the washer.
On one side.
On one side. But not the high efficiency ones. They stop when they're imbalanced.
Yeah, and they like play weird toy tunes.
Yeah, toys too.
Then your mom's going to be like, someone in the laundry. Don't come in here, Mom. I told you not to bother me while I'm drying towels.
I'm trying to think of the sounds that come out of these. Like they're like playing these all kids nursery rhymes like doo 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 doo.
Yeah, my dad's plays a friggin' 12.
That was a fun one to record. There were other questions in this column that were actually really great, including my boyfriend's mom offered to break up with me for him, and my parents are swingers, and it makes me really uncomfortable. Head on over to our website, and you can read those columns. They're linked in our show notes, or just take a listen to the episode. If you haven't caught on yet, our episode titles are dictated by what we say, usually something outlandish and ridiculous. But it does make me wonder, looking back on them, what exactly we were talking about. For example, episode 69, Beg Daddy. It seems awfully appropriate, but of course I had to go back and listen to figure out where this insanity came from. This column is Ask Daddy, and the question that we're going to be reading in this clip from episode 69 is, what does this love affair say about me? It was an interesting conversation, an interesting subject. Take a listen. Let me know what you think. I remember the one time I went to a rodeo with my family. I've gone to a rodeo.
I was like, wait, are you what?
Yeah, I've gone to a rodeo. And it was literally just bulls fucking in the pen, like trying to do each other. So that's why it's funny.
Oh, and then they split them up and that's why they get angry?
I probably... Bro, I was just getting it in.
Put at me right now?
What, you're riding me now? Oh, shit. So I'm just going to get to it.
Yes.
This is from, it seems to be a now defunct advice column, which is kind of sad because the writing looks really great. From metrosource.com, Ask Daddy.
Ooh.
From their lifestyle section. So this first one, I don't have dates, but they range from 3 to 4 years ago. They didn't publish the dates with them. Ask Daddy, what does this love affair say about me?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That you's a hoe.
Or he's a hoe.
Everybody's a hoe.
2 hoes don't make a right.
No, sometimes they make babies, though.
Just a little bit of a background on Ask Daddy. That's an advice column for LGBTQ readers with questions relating to sexuality, morality, coming out, or navigating relationships. And always remember, the best advice this gay daddy has for you is that if you have an urgent issue or are in need of regular counseling, seek out a therapist who can offer you individual care in person. So Kevin is the writer. His name's just Kevin. I don't know if he has more.
His name is just Daddy.
It's just Kevin Daddy. Daddy Kevin.
Daddy Kevin.
Hi, Daddy. I'm 25. Sorry. That just didn't feel right.
You said it way too like...
Hi, Daddy.
Bouncy.
Was it bouncy?
Yeah.
Hi, Daddy. That doesn't sound right either. Hi, Daddy. I'm 25.
And in my first actual relationship, I've hooked up with less than a handful of guys before, but they've all just been that, hookups. I met my current partner at a friend's Christmas party last year. We became drinking buddies, then smoking buddies. There was quite a bit of sexual tension, but neither of us, quote, wanted a relationship, end quote. After about 4 months, he told me why. He, in quotes, is genderqueer and prefers she. It's all love. She knew I identified as gay, so she thought I wouldn't want to get involved. But at that point, I was head over heels in love. I told her that it doesn't change anything. I love who she is as a person, and that's true. I do. Just for clarity, the assumption here that I'm making is because the pronouns weren't very pronounced. They weren't a topic of conversation, that the writer assumed that the person that they were with identified as he, appeared, maybe presented as male, identified as he, but then found out that they're genderqueer and identify as she.
Thank you for the fill-in.
Sure thing. But at that point, I was head over heels in love. I told her that it doesn't change anything. I love who she is as a person, and that's true. I do. We started dating shortly after that. She still has male parts, and she uses them when we have sex. She's not out on the level of genderqueer to anyone except a limited few. So I call her my boyfriend in public, but my girlfriend in private because that's what she wants. If she wanted me to call her my girlfriend in public, I would. But I don't want to force or push her to do something she's not ready to do. I'm not entirely sure how to be in a relationship, and I don't want to mess it up. I love her, but I don't want her to think it's only because she still has a penis. How can I show her that it's her I love, not just the sex? Randall.
What is genderqueer?
Gender fluid. You don't subscribe to the gender you were necessarily born with.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a little bit confused with what this has to do with the relationship dynamic, especially if it wasn't something that was there or discussed in the beginning.
So what it boils down to in my head is a lack of communication or a lack of trust on the other person too. So they didn't disclose at first. She didn't disclose at first that she identifies as she, that she was genderqueer, which I think that, how you want to identify needs to be made known by you as an individual, right?
Right.
So if you're not correcting someone, then yeah. And it seems like this is an outward thing. So like when we're out in public, I am he. I'm not necessarily out to everyone as genderqueer or she. Might not necessarily identify as trans, may not want to undergo gender reassignment, but identifies as she, and that's okay. Whatever.
Yeah, of course.
From what I'm getting from this is there's some underlying insecurity that she feels that he's only with her because she has a penis, and it's about the sex, and he wants to reassure her that it's not just about the sex.
Well, that's why I'm confused, is because he was with her prior to her saying I'm her.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why.
I see what you're saying.
Why that changes the.
Why does it change the dynamic? I see.
If anything, I feel like that would reassure.
Unless there's an insecurity on the other person's part, like now that I've come out, now I'm insecure about it, and they're showing that.
Still confused.
In theory, I see what you're saying. It shouldn't change the dynamic, right? Like, oh, well, whatever. I mean, we're fine. We're doing great. But once you reveal these things, people's behaviors tend to change. So maybe instead of the writer's the writer's actions or tendencies changing, this person is acting a certain way because now I'm expecting this person's dynamic to change with me.
Okay, that makes sense.
Does that make
that makes sense.
So how do I reassure this person that nothing's changing?
I feel like you already did.
I think you're doing the right thing.
Right. Okay, I'm still here. I didn't run when you said actually, I identify as this.
I will call you she behind closed doors, he in front of people.
Support you.
I will call you she in public when you want me to call you she in public. I have no shame of you. I love you unconditionally. Mm-hmm. This is actually it's almost like a sweet question, I feel like, because it's not alluding to any issues to that, to that degree.
Right.
But you can only assume that there's been discussions or, some insecurities that have come up to that level. But it's kind of sweet.
Yeah. How
do I support my partner?
Right.
Which is pretty much what this question should be. I like it.
Yeah.
But I think that they've been doing it all along.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any.
I'm with you. I think, yeah, I'm just curious what the answer is, I guess. I agree with you. And I also feel like I already loved you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You changing or you coming out or you wanting something doesn't make a difference, which they clearly stated. So
Yeah. It would be different if it was kind of like your parents coming out to them and them kind of disagreeing.
Yeah.
You know, like, because what your logic is like the logic that a lot of people use to kind of come out. Like, if my parents love me, they're going to accept me for who I am. And then they come out and then it's like, uh-oh, that was the wrong way to do it, or the wrong thing to say, or they don't accept me, or whatever it is. You know, so I see what you're saying, but unfortunately, that's not always the reality.
No, yeah, no,
So I think that's what this
definitely.
person is like feeling, is like, if they're feeling anything, because we don't have any information
my
on that.
confusion was like, I prefer to be referred to as she. And then it's like, well, you only love me because of my penis. That's where I'm kind of confused.
Well, it would help if we
Where
had
it's
more
like-
context from the side of the partner, and we don't have that. It almost feels like an assumption on both of their parts,
Yeah.
you know? And you just support them by treating them how they want to be treated. Response? Hi, Randall. First, let me congratulate you for a couple of reasons. First, you're looking at a person and not just seeing a collection of desirable parts. The second is that you're courageous enough to accept another person as a partner on their terms. Third is that your letter actually answers your question. You show her you love her by loving her and respecting her wishes. At the end of the day, we all exist on a spectrum, whether you're Jason Statham or Troye Sivan.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
I love you.
And when people talk about the Me Too movement, part of the idea has nothing to do with violence or intimidation. It has to do with respecting another person's right to exist and present themselves as they see fit. Back in the day, not so long ago, people like your sweetheart would be living either in a gay ghetto somewhere and interacting only with people who look like them, or they'd be wearing their dreary Banana Republic outfits and be miserable marching in line with the rest of conventional society. People like the pair of you make the world more colorful, more interesting, and more inclusive. Take your time sorting this out, Randall, and know that gender fluidity means just that. Some people will change with the weather. Do be careful about who knows what until you're sure about them and that your partner is comfortable being out with the news. Easy does it. Baby steps. Caution with those you interact with, especially including strangers, and you should both be just fine. Good luck.
That answer lost me mostly.
It's the Me Too. The Me Too lost me. Like, I get that it may have been relevant at that point, but it wasn't necessary to help respond in responding this question.
If you were lost, I definitely was lost.
I mean, I wasn't totally lost, but it just, I feel like this writer needed to fill space.
But we were right, though.
Right.
You're already doing it.
You're doing
You
it
answered your
perfectly.
question.
Yeah. What other way is there other than to support them genuinely?
Yeah.
Reassure them if they need reassurances. If they come to you, do not lay it on thick, because at that point they feel like you're overcompensating or being too like hovering or being too needy.
Inauthentic.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that was too easy. Next.
Yeah. We're kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah, we took a name, Randall. It never fails that we learn something new every time we come across columns like this. And that's part of the reason that we do this. Everything's such a learning experience. And even when you think you understand things or that you've come as close to understanding them as you're going to, you learned something new about yourself, as well as having learned something about society and the world around us. So doing questions like that is actually really special and important to us. And when we're off the air, Stephanie and I have genuine conversations about these things. We work really hard to meet people where they're at in any phase in life. And both of us really feel that that is what contributes to, if not makes, a good person. This last clip that we're going to listen to is from episode 56. Interestingly enough, also has a very, very unique title called Utilize Your Urethra, where we read from the New York Times Magazine, the Ethicist's column. In this particular clip, the writer is asking the ethicist what the ethics are of writing about a true crime experience that they witnessed. It's a very interesting thing to write to an advice columnist about, and I think that's what drew us to it, but it also led to some fun conversation. Let's have a listen and see where this one goes.
From May 24th, 2022. Okay, are you ready for this? I don't know what to make of this title.
I'm ready.
I witnessed a murder. Is it wrong to write about it?
Whoa.
Right.
In real life or on Netflix?
I don't know. Was this a true crime documentary or was it Narcos? You ready? Recently, I rented a private office in a co-working space so I could work on personal writing projects. About 2 weeks into my tenure, I heard screams. When I went to investigate, I saw a man beating someone savagely with a metal pipe.
Jesus Christ.
I ran to my office, called 911, and then returned only to see the man walking in my direction. I ran back to my office and hid until the police arrived. The victim, she was the office manager, was rushed to the hospital where she was declared dead. The story that emerged is that the man, a fellow client who had been living in his office, was being evicted by the office manager. Because I'm a writer, it's not surprising that a number of my friends, writers and non-writers alike, have asked whether I am writing about this story. Yet from the beginning, I have struggled to even talk about what I witnessed. I do not want to dine out on it. It feels unseemly to me, if not outright wrong, to take advantage of my very accidental connection to this murder and its victim. I am troubled by the idea of viewing another woman's death as material. What are the ethics of writing about what is, at heart, someone else's tragedy?
So you're the professional one in our relationship. However, what kind of writer?
She just says she's a writer.
Like story?
She's working on a
books,
personal writing
journals?
project. There's nothing specific.
I need to know because this is going to, or did, have a major impact in her life. That's trauma.
Mm-hmm.
That is something you need to process and get through and like cope with.
So you're thinking like biography, memoir,
Right.
biographical something.
Yes.
Okay.
Because this is like...
So do you go in depth on that? Well, I guess you would have to, right? If you're
trying to get to like, this was traumatic for me. This was terrifying. This left me with nightmares for a year. Like that type of thing. Yeah, because you don't have to give names. You don't have to. There, unfortunately, is hundreds of thousands of deaths all around the world. So it's not that you have to make it super obvious who or what this was about, because that could hurt the families and loved ones of the victim. Do we say victim?
Yeah.
Okay. But if this is like journalism and newspaper and like things like that, then that doesn't feel very nice. If it was my sister that was killed and, you know, the person who saw it happen sends off a little newspaper clipping about it, I'm going to be upset.
Yeah. She says that she's working on personal writing projects. So that to me either means something personal and biographical.
Like a book.
Yeah. Like a
Birkenstocks.
A book. Or it's something that she can't talk about, either contractually or otherwise. Now, is this canon? Is this something that she should include or write about in general?
I mean, it impacted her life.
It impacted her.
That's life-changing.
It impacted her, but what I'm getting at is that by the way that they wrote this question, feels like they're not comfortable writing about it.
Well, they said in one part that like...
It just seems they don't want to write someone's tragedy as material.
Right.
I think that's your answer.
I know. Well, yeah, I agree.
You know, you don't feel comfortable, then why are you entertaining it? Right. You know, if you're thinking about the dime on the other side, then the ethical reason is, how do I feel? You know, that's the ethical question. Mm-hmm. To get to the answer is, how do I feel about this? Mm-hmm. Am I going to write on this to profit from it? Well, I don't feel right about that. Right. But looking at the payout on the other side, it's very tempting. You got to do what's true to you. Yeah. That's really how I feel about it. I don't think that
should I or shouldn't I write about it? I don't think it's one way or the other. Someone's writing about it.
Were they asking, like, is it unethical for me to write about it?
Yeah.
And so it's less like, should I?
It's what are the ethics of writing about what is at heart someone else's tragedy?
Yeah, so that feels a little bit different than like, do I want to write about this because it's against my feelings?
Well, the question at the end is misleading too, because she's saying, or they're saying within the text of the question that friends are telling them to write about it and they're not feeling okay with it. So what are the ethics of writing about it? And so maybe they're looking for a way to help make their decision rather than have a decision proposed to them, which I guess I can respect.
Yeah.
What are the ethics about writing about someone else's tragedy?
You leave out names, you leave out details that...
Well, that's legal that people do.
Yeah, but that's also ethics. If I don't want to pick up a book and read about my sister's horrific murder.
What if it's something that's already published? This is just me playing devil's advocate. So if something's published in a newspaper and it's already like widespread.
If the news is reporting about the horrific crime that happened, that's different than somebody else. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I think that with like true crime being so popular as it is, like writing about things like that isn't necessarily ethically unsound. But I also think that they genuinely go and ask the next of kin or family.
I was just going to say, I think the ethics should be getting permission.
Yeah. Like, I need...
Can I use her name? Is it okay if I write and don't use her name? That type of thing.
Yeah. That I can get behind 100%.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Response?
Yes.
Okay. I'm glad we just came to that. That took a long time.
Great minds think alike.
It's worth recalling that, quote, tragedy, a word we use to describe events like this one, originally designated a literary genre, a form of storytelling. Whatever is going on in us when we experience a tragic narrative, Aristotle wasn't the last to speculate about it. We surely learn something about our own emotional repertory. It may serve as a rehearsal of our responses to actual horrors. Classic novels have taken inspiration from real homicides. Non-fictional works immortalizing such events have joined the literary canon too. We dream in a narrative, daydream in narrative, remember, anticipate, hope, despair, believe, doubt, plan, revise, criticize, construct, gossip, learn, hate, and love by narrative. The literary scholar Barbara Hardy maintained. I'm sorry, that was all supposed to be in quotes, but you get the picture. In order really to live, we make up stories about ourselves and others, about the personal as well as the social past and future. But to whom does this story of a homicide belong? Is it shared by the perpetrator and the victim? Is it inherited as part of someone's estate, like a piece of property? Is it a possession only of those who care deeply about the life that was taken or about the person who took it? Whose is it? We'll do better, in my view, if we don't think about what happened as someone's possession. To regard what happened merely as material for your writing, to be sure, would be to lose track of the fact that it was an event in which another human being suffered terribly and died. And it's a natural anxiety that the friends and family of the murdered would be pained by what you might write. Yet they don't own the event. Indeed, there's a sense in which it really did happen to you as well. Certainly, your own experience, at once accidental and terrifying, was unique. Intimacy with your principles can be valuable for a writer. So can distance. That's because there's no single way of narrating an event, however banal, however horrific. And nobody has the lived experience of having been killed. Writing about the event you witnessed will be justified in that your writing has value.
Okay.
So
I liked the point that, like, yes, this is also your story. I don't like that the loved ones of the victim, I mean, yes, technically they don't own that, but I feel like that's just a level of respect that kind of goes without saying.
Yeah, I get the sense that what the ethicist says was mainly food for thought. I think this is their style of writing, which I'm starting to gather, because a lot of this wasn't necessarily direct advice so much as it was to help you make your decision, like a psychologist.
Right.
Just very interesting to me, because you don't see this with advice columnists.
Right.
So I think that was more food for thought, like thinking about it in this way, because I really liked the end. Your writing is justified in that it has value. So what does that mean? What does that mean to you? You know, what are they perceiving? What do you want the reader to take back from this? Mm-hmm. You know, and I can't answer what,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Other than entertainment value because of that true crime genre. But
yeah,
I don't hate this response.
I didn't hate it either. I
couldn't read
feel
it.
Like we just kind of owe the loved ones some respect. You know what I mean?
Pushed them aside.
Like, yeah, they don't own this. It didn't happen. You know, like, which I get in like the broad aspect of it, and I do agree that like this happened to you. That's traumatic. That's part of your life now, unfortunately. But I do feel like there still should be some level of just kind of empathy or like respect for the family members. You know what I mean? I feel like that's just kind of only right.
Yeah, I think, and this is the line that they're drawing, right? Like, you know, this is something that, you know, now the family's suffering through, but it happened to you also. No, you didn't get killed, but you witnessed a traumatizing event. So it's just, it's just an interesting
Well, I feel like it goes back to like, what are you writing?
And that's the
we need to know.
But that's the last part of it, right? That your writing has value. What do you need the other person to get? What are you writing? So I think that's a very valid question and probably should have been the response to all of this.
But if you're a gossip girl,
right.
like I'll beat you up if you're writing about the death of my sister.
If you can find out who it is.
Right. Well, the new season you do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Didn't it get canceled again already?
Probably.
Yeah.
But I didn't watch it.
Okay.
But that's what I mean. If it's something like in that type of form, like now I'm just spilling tea.
Right.
Then yeah, you need permission from the family.
Yeah.
But if you're speaking about like, this fucked me up, then yes, tell your story.
Yeah.
For me, it depends on what you're writing.
Right.
Your intention behind it.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. I agree with everything that you're saying.
Yeah.
But I also see like, these are, because a lot of these things weren't points, they were questions, you know, to kind of help this writer make a decision about something. So I kind of see where they're going with this. It's like, I'm trying to help you make a decision, but ultimately, and that was the last thing,
right?
like,
No, yeah.
what you're getting needs to have value.
No.
So I kind of respect that, but I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
That was a
really good one.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. We're not trying to exploit your experience.
Great question,
Great question.
Great question.
That's terrible. Should we publish this one?
Why wouldn't we?
Just kidding.
Oh, I was like, you crossed the line now. Okay.
The next one.
That has to be one of my favorite discussions. The ethical dilemma alone is something to sit and ponder. And I don't know how I would handle that type of a situation. But I mean, you just listened to the clip, so I won't rehash it for you. That's all we have for this week's episodes. A friendly reminder that you can find the links to all of these episodes and the columns that we covered in them at illadvisedthepodcast.com in our show notes for this episode, Best of the Biffs Part 3. By the time that you are listening to this, it'll already be 2024. So we want to wish you a happy new year and hope that you had a fantastic holiday season full of love and warmth and family and friends. We are beyond grateful to be a part of this new year with you and that you continue to listen and like our content. We're thrilled to bring you our centennial episode next week. 100 episodes. This is phenomenal. We're celebrating with some familiar friends and some expensive champagne, and we hope that you listen and be entertained and love it. It's going to be a blast. So stay tuned for that and keep an eye on all of our social media at illadvisedthepodcast to see what we have in store for you.
And with all of that said, you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you smell great, and don't forget to beg daddy to swing bang you to death. And thank you for listening. You've been ill-advised. Ill-Advised is hosted and produced by Stephanie and Ray,
aka your Biffs,
Send us your questions, your comments, all of your concerns,
and your drink recommendations
to illadvisedthepodcast@gmail.com. You can catch up on all of our episodes and our show notes at illadvisedthepodcast.com.
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at illadvisedthepodcast. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe
On Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you listen.
You've been ill-advised.